I have always been really interested in tattoos ever since I was younger. I was always drawing in the walls. My mum was always giving me trouble. I was always coming home from school with like biro pen on my neck and my face because I was drawing tattoos of myself. I didn't really believe in mental health. I'm going to out myself here. I didn't believe in it at all because I grew up with my mum telling me to stop crying and don't show anyone your feelings because you're strong and you're a strong independent woman and we don't cry and we can deal with things ourselves. And during COVID, I think that's when I really realised that mental health was genuinely a thing because my mum didn't want to be here anymore. And it was at 11 minutes past 9 I got a phone call from my mum's friend saying that she tried to kill herself that night and I had to go and get her. I think everything was just kind of getting ahead of her. And then basically we'd done all the stuff that we needed to do, brought her home. And then literally a couple of months later she tried it again. And I was like, man, like something needs to happen here. No mental health services were helping her because it was during COVID. So it was just literally this ongoing spiral of like her falling into the deep end, trying to get out the deep end and then falling back in it again. And I just felt so useless. And the only thing genuinely that I could relate to her was tattoos, believe it or not. And I know that sounds dead daft, like how does someone go from not wanting to be here to talking about tattoos? Like it was the one thing that literally brought joy to mum's face, you know. So during COVID I was like, do you know what, like if it helps I'll give you a wee tattoo here and there. And it genuinely helped. And one day in the kitchen she was like, oh, when are we adding more to my self-love sleeve? And I was like, what are you talking about? And then she said to me, she's called it her self-love sleeve because every single day that I gave her a tattoo over COVID, it meant something new and it kind of marked like a territory in her path of where she was coming from. And she says she looks at it every single day and realises that she doesn't know why she was in that position because she would have left so many people that she loved behind, so many passions that she loved behind, and tattoos behind. And she calls it her self-love sleeve because she looks at it every day and realises where she was and how far she's came. And I was like, do you know what, see if that can help one person. It can help so many people, and that's where the idea of the name of the shop of Self Love Club came from. And here I am.
My experience at the Self Love Club has been quite positive. Every time I go there, they always offer me a cup of tea and make sure I'm comfortable when getting the tattoo done and keep the conversation going. Overall, it's been quite relaxing going to the Self Love Club. Well, the first tattoo I got there was the two padlocks. These were to my friends. And then the next one I got was the lightning strike. I've always liked lightning in general, so I just wanted it on me. And then the last one is the dragon, which is also the animal for Chinese New Year, which represents my birth year. Having tattoos has made me feel more confident as a person, mainly because sometimes I get a bit insecure with my body, but they've made me feel more secure within the person that I am.
I think tattoos and mental health genuinely like hold hand as if they're in like a relationship with each other. Because when I was younger, I used to get bullied a lot in high school just because I was tall and lanky. Just the way it is. I used to get called giraffe all the time. And I never had a problem with my height ever until other people made it a problem. And when I was probably about like 11 or 12, that's when I kind of like found on the internet like tattoos and the kind of tattoo culture. But kind of back in the day it was kind of like frowned upon to have loads of tattoos. Obviously back in the day it was like you're a criminal or you're not smart or you're just brought up in the wrong place. Like like tattoos are still kind of associated with that, especially with older people. But I think this is why I'm trying to kind of change the kind of dynamic of it, like with the shop and stuff, because there's so much more to tattoos than just getting a tattoo. I like to try and describe it as the more I add to my body, the more I become whole, and I think it's just really important to kind of open your mind a little bit more when it comes to tattoos. Tattoos are literally just a little bit of help to push you forward, and also at the same time you can enjoy them because it's something that you're paying for, that's permanent on your body, that will make you feel good about yourself. That's so special, like being able to look at something that's permanent on your body to get you through life, because you don't teach you in school that life's hard. Like life is so hard and that there's no handbook on that, so yeah, I think it's just really important to kind of just not just see tattoos as a form of art. Like there's so much more than that, and I could talk about it for days on end, genuinely.
Having tattoos for me has made me feel more confident in myself. I feel like less afraid to have my arms out. I'm like always looking for like more clothing that like will showcase my tattoos rather than like hide myself, and I just feel like having the meaningful ones, it's just a way for me to like hold on to things that matter, and like that's why I say I'll never regret a tattoo, is because at one point in my life it meant a lot to me, and I'm never going to doubt my past self again. For me, Chloe was one of the first people who just listened to me. She never offered her opinion, she never interrupted me or questioned me, she just let me talk. She's probably been one of the only people I've ever been that vulnerable with, as sincerity is scary for me and something that I struggle with in my day-to-day life and relationships. She was the first person that I openly talked about my assault to, and when I opened up to her, she offered a sense of comfort and compassion that I hadn't felt up until that point. That day Chloe helped me like in more ways than she'll ever know.
When the idea came about, like initially I was going to open a tattoo shop anyway, and make it like a kind of like all female studio, like a safe space and all that kind of stuff, but the mental health side wasn't there until that happened with my mum, and I was like, do you know what, like this is something that needs to be done. So that was probably at the start of COVID, and I didn't actually secure a property until like when COVID was ending. So it would have been like a 2.5 year process of trying to find places. I was originally looking in Glasgow, but you know, in the middle of COVID, prices were skyrocketing and I just couldn't afford anything. So, and I wanted that kind of feeling of, see when you initially like buy your first home and you're like, you get that feeling inside of like, that's the place. I didn't get anything with any property. But with this one, as soon as I came in, I was like, you know what, this is it. Like, it's small enough. I didn't want it to be like a massive open area, because I wanted it to be small and compact and homely, instead of like a normal like open studio where people are miles apart and you don't get any conversation or closeness about it. But it was really difficult. As soon as I got it, I thought that was the hard part. But licensing and building standards and planning just absolutely knocked me back like a good solid 9 months. Like, I got the property in April, I got my inspection in July, and then there was something wrong with the building, so it was the wrong class, so I had to change the class from a class 1 to a class 2, and that set me back a whole 4 months, which was kind of annoying because all of my staff were waiting on the shop opening, so all of us were unemployed, so we were all unemployed for about 5-6 months, and it was just an absolute horror show. But we managed to open on the 8th of October. But it was such a fun experience opening it, you know, like trying to do it up and do all the decorating and stuff. I've made some very funny memories in here, and ones that I'll always remember. But it's good. It was such a nice feeling to finally have it open and have our opening day. Our opening day was honestly like, I have never slept so well in my life, because after that day it was just it just felt like I was back to work and it was normal. But it was definitely a hard process, but it was so worth it. At the end of the day, I sit here and think, I'm just this girl from Blantyre. Like, half the world don't even know where Blantyre is. Half the world don't know where Hamilton is. It was definitely surreal. It felt like I was famous.